Okay, and we are live. ¿Qué tal, amigos? I hope everybody's doing well today. Sunday, the 15th of May, 7:30 p.m. Spain mainland time. And as you can hear, I've still got a bit of a cold, bit of a frog in the old throat, but hopefully I'll be able to get through the next 25 to 30 minutes without too many dramas. We'll see. Plenty of activity already going on there in the chat section. Steve coming in, Babs coming in, Alan coming in, asking about the Kalima. Has it arrived in Spain yet? Apparently it has, Alan. We'll look at something about that in a moment. St. Pete to Madrid, saying here, Ola from sunny and warm Madrid. Ricardo coming in from the north of London. Apparently good weather yesterday in London, but today a little bit rainy and wet. St. Pete also says, Happy San Isidro Day. That is true. This weekend here in Madrid, we're celebrating the patron saint, San Isidro, and public holiday tomorrow, I believe. Also where I live here as well, there have been public holidays, one on Friday, another one tomorrow, and we have the local fiestas. So lots of people out and about going to concerts and letting their hair down, let's say, with the local fiestas. Amanda coming in here as well from near the Welsh border. Hello. Steppenwolf coming in from Seron, Andalusia. Linda coming in from Pennsylvania. So plenty of activity already coming in the chat section. Pat coming in from saying that she loves Cambarro, which is the thumbnail of today's video. I placed there in Pontevedra. Very nice place. Definitely worth a visit if you're in that part of the world. Carol coming in from Estepona. Libby from New York. Can't wait to get back to Spain. And Welsh Toro coming in saying hello everybody. Joan from Switzerland. Jose Antonio coming in from the Royal City, Ciudad Real. Now, first piece of news that we'll look at today is this one here. Juan Carlos I refuses to visit Zarzuela, which is where the royals live here in Spain, Zarzuela Palace, just to say hello on his return to Spain. Juan Carlos I is negotiating with his son, King Felipe VI, his imminent return to Spain, according to business friends consulted by El Mundo. The former king considers that with the latest decrees of dropping criminal cases against him, both in Switzerland and in Spain, there is no reason why he cannot return to his country, at least temporarily, and his intention is to return imminently by the same point by which he left in August 2020, the Galician municipality of San Xenxo. So, just a matter of time, according to El Mundo, before former King Juan Carlos steps foot again on Spanish soil. As we know, he's been living for the last 3 years, maybe, I think. Not sure of the exact dates when he left originally to go and live in Abu Dhabi. Self-imposed exile, forced exile, don't know exactly why, but he thought he'd get out of Spain while the heat was on him. They were trying to get him on tax-related fraud charges for money that wasn't declared back in the day in Switzerland, as we saw there, also here in Spain, but those charges were dropped, they went away, and now the path is clear for him to return. Says that he's not going to stay permanently in Spain. Obviously, he doesn't feel that the people love him anymore, and he probably will spend the rest of his days, I don't know, maybe in Abu Dhabi or somewhere else. But apparently the plan is for him not to come back to Spain to live permanently and get in the way of his son's reign, let's say. All right, good. Back into the comment section. Patrick coming in from Southern California, 35 degrees. Fairly hot here at the moment as well, Patrick. Weather is hot in Spain, at least where I am. Yesterday was a hot day. Friday was a hot day. And lots of people saying that it is hot. Tom coming in from Edmonton, Alberta, 21 there. Good. High flyer coming in from Almeria, flying into Almeria on Tuesday morning. Can't wait. No Kalima en Estepona, says Carol. That's good to see. Patrick says buenos dias. Which I think we just looked at that one. Alan Edge says, Stu, what's the Spanish word for frog? The Spanish word for frog is R-A-N-A. Rana is the word, Alan. Thank you. We've got Dave coming in from Gatwick, near Gatwick Airport, waiting to come to Barcelona if the restrictions for unvaccinated are lifted. been extended, Dave, I believe, another month. So you won't be coming in anytime in the next month, I don't think, unless you catch COVID and get a recovery certificate, which is an option. Danny is coming in here, also talking about the same thing, I think. What else we got going on? Martin C., sorry that you are still suffering. Not too bad today, Martin. I was pretty bad on Friday. Yesterday, 50-50, but a little bit congested in the nasal area and the throat as well. So a little bit uncomfortable, especially with the hot weather. Nothing worse than having a cold when the weather's hot. You can't really enjoy it. But anyway, second piece of news. The new haze arrives in Spain. What is it? How long will it last? And how will it affect air quality? The summer heat episode in the middle of May began last Saturday. Will continue this weekend in most of Spain with many hours of sunshine and thermometers between 5 and 10 degrees above normal in large areas. Temperatures that are usually given in late June or early July, according to Rubén del Campo from the Weather Bureau. Some parts of the peninsula have already reached 35 degrees and are expected to remain during the weekend. And are expected to remain that high during the weekend. Also, the Bureau forecasts some storms that could be accompanied by mud and the arrival of a new calima. What is calima, I hear you ask? Well, it's a weather phenomenon that occurs in the atmosphere and is characterized by the presence of particles of dust and sand and even ash and clay in suspension. The result is a cloudy atmosphere that worsens air quality. But as we saw there before, down there in Estepona, Carol said that the calima has not arrived, at least in her part of Malaga. So if you are down there in southern Andalusia, maybe in Almeria or Malaga, in some parts of Malaga, and you have experienced calima recently, let us know. Very bad air quality. So be careful going outside with the calima in the air. And also it leaves everything very, very dirty. Cars, pools, patios. So you might have to get the cleaning equipment out. And apparently it's going to be around until tomorrow in some places. But again, let's get some confirmation as to whether it has hit Andalusia or not. All right, Ian, what does Ian say here about pet passports? Hi, Stuart, the UK no longer has pet passports. You have to get a certificate from a vet. My sister was quoted £400. Yeah, not sure what's going on with pets from the UK coming into Spain, Ian, but I imagine it's one of those things that has been affected by the new status of the United Kingdom, the third country. Before it was very easy, apparently, to come into Spain with pets. You just needed your European pet passport to have your pets vaccinated and all those things that pets need to do on a yearly basis. But now, of course, the third country rules a little bit more complicated. And as we can see here, £400 to get the certificate. So not good, Ian, not good. But it's one of those new changes. What else we got going on? Paul from London, 5 days into my COVID, still with us, dropped my guard just once, and here we are. Yep, Paul, lots of people with COVID at the moment here in Spain as well. People testing positive to COVID. Drop your guard and bang, it'll hit you. I've never seen anything spread as quickly as COVID when my son got it last year. We were, 3 or 4 days later, bang, everybody had got it. So it's a very infectious thing. But luckily, apparently what I hear is the hospitals are not suffering like they were back in 2020 and early 2021. So that's positive and probably more cold-like symptoms for a lot of people. But still, if you can avoid it, that's probably a good idea. All right, what else we got going on here in the chat section? Carrie coming in, Kathleen coming in, feeling better. I still have a cold, yes I do, but not much that I can do about that, unfortunately, Carrie. It is what it is, as they say. All right, next piece of news. Moodys identifies Spain as the EU country that has the most difficult time reducing debt to pre-COVID levels. Reducing public debt to its pre-COVID level is practically unattainable for Spain in the coming years, and also for Italy, France, Belgium and Austria, and even Germany. this impossible is especially improbable for Spain with respect to the rest of the countries of the EU due to the protection of a more pronounced primary deficit, income minus expenditure, excluding interest payments on the debt, and structural deficit. This is the analysis of the risk rating agency Moodys. So, going to be difficult to get that debt down, to reduce that debt to pre-COVID levels, because as we know, Spain has borrowed a lot of money. A lot of countries have borrowed a lot of money over the last couple of years to sustain the economies, and Spain there, according to Moodys, going to have a fair bit of trouble paying that money back and getting to those pre-COVID debt levels, which were high, and of course, as we know, even higher now. Not sure what the percentage of GDP is, but I think it's 121, maybe 122% GDP debt ratio, I think. So not good news there, and it's something that people will be paying for, I imagine, for decades and decades and decades, because where are governments going to get the money from? That's the question. You can only increase taxes so far before you get smashed politically, politicians, and unless Spain discovers gold or oil or something that can, bring in a lot of income, where's the money going to come from? That's the question. All right, we've got Clint coming in from Oviedo. Carmen says, rana is the word. Yes, it is. Rana is the word. Carrie's asking a question here. Hi, Stu, is there a limit to how many 12 packs of beer you can buy at the market? Yes, there is a limit, apparently. So it's not a question, it's a statement from Carrie. There's a limit to how many packs of beer you can buy. I didn't know that, because I've seen people at the supermarket buying trolleys and trolleys loads of beer, especially when it's on sale. You get quite often these people that work in discount supermarkets go to places like Carrefour and they buy up in bulk, and they've got a lot more in their trolleys than 6 Carrie. So I'm not sure what that, maybe it's where you are in Spain, I don't know, but here in Madrid, I don't think there's a limit on how much beer you can buy. Anyway, what else we got going on? Will, have you got the sniffles? Yes, I have got the sniffles, but I'm getting on with it. I'm trying to push through. What else we got going on here? We've got Amiels USA as a young child. This one here, even after 75. While my family lived in Puerto de Santa Maria, we could not enter Gibraltar. The land border was closed until 1986. Thank you very much for that information. Chris says flights available for £200 return in May, half term. That's unheard of. Probably on the cheap side, Chris. What else we got going on here in the chat section? Tom coming in with the Kalima as well. What a mess to clean up. Yeah, apparently it is a bit of a mess to clean up, Tim. We did experience the Kalima with rain back in March when in Marbella. It was a mess to clean up here in Madrid, a mess to clean up especially down in Andalusia. And I've never seen anything like it here in Madrid. It was, everything was a tinged orangey colour, and again, the air quality very, very bad, Tom, which is the biggest problem. The cleanup is secondary to the quality of the air. You don't want to be breathing this stuff in too much, I don't think. So, yeah, hopefully we won't get too many more of these Kalimas, at least here where I am. But in the south of Spain, probably more probable, given that the proximity to the north of Africa. Next thing, we'll have a look at a first comment. Byron and Josefa saying that yes, it's stupid people dealing in the black money in black money. Majority don't put it in the bank; they always deal in cash, so it can't be taxed. I spoke about this with Johnny the other day, because there's a limit on how much cash you can withdraw from the bank and pay for things here in Spain. I think it's €1,000. I think that's what we mentioned the other day. In my opinion, if you've got that money in your bank legally, you should be able to do with it whatever you want. If you want to take out €1,000, if you want to take out €2,000 and spend it, I can't see there's a problem. If you pay tax, the money's coming from your job. It's been put into your bank account, because the majority of payments now go straight into the bank. I remember when I first started working back in the 1980s, we were paid in cash. We used to get an envelope with cash in it, but nowadays that is not the case. Money goes straight from companies into your bank account. So it's controlled. And what happens to that money afterwards? As I said the other day, in my opinion, that's my business. If I want to take it out and spend it, I should be able to do that. But there are fines if you spend more than 1,000 euros in cash. I think 25% if the other person dobs you in, which I don't necessarily agree with. And the idea is that it's trying to stop black money, getting people to stop working in the black economy and using big sums of cash. But my point is that I think the government should be able to distinguish whether that money's coming out of your bank account and being spent in cash, or whether or not it's being gained illegally. I think that's what the government should try and do, not necessarily fine everybody for big cash payments, 1,000 euros at the moment, but I imagine next year, the year after, it's going to come down to even less, so probably even 500 euros. So getting harder and harder to use cash in Spain. I'm not talking about things like buying a coffee with cash. Obviously, that's normal, even though nowadays a lot of people are just tapping and going with coffees and even very small purchases. So the credit card companies are having a field day. The banks are having a field day with all of these commissions that are being charged from card use. And no doubt that that's one of the reasons as well why they're trying to stamp out cash, to not only for the black economy side of it, but also to get these cash transactions happening. And another way for banks, which have been hard hit over the last decade or so with low interest rates, to give them another source of income and revenue. I imagine that's also one of the reasons. All right, good. What else we got going on here? Diane, hi Stuart. We are in Pantano. Let's have a look at this one. Pantano de los Bermejales. Enjoying the fantastic weather. Thanks for the regular info. Great show. Hello, Diane. Hope you are enjoying your time there. Weather fantastic, as you say. City Fan says 25 degrees Celsius in Barcelona today. Winter about to start. Okay. Noel coming in from Arizona in the USA. Danny saying that raining all day in the UK, in London today anyway. Mugga from El Campello, I think Mugga is at the moment. Hello, Mugga. Yogi, I do have a cold still. That's it. Noel wishing me a speedy recovery. Thank you very much for that. And as I said, plenty of activity coming in on the chat section. And we're up to 51 likes. So if you haven't liked the video yet and you want to do so, please smash that like button. 250 people watching at the moment. Hello to everybody. Now, next comment. Let's have a look. Again on the cash. Chris, there are two reasons that you cannot use cash for large value transactions. 1, the banks have more control over your money. 2, they can charge you more to use your own money. Simple. It's all about how greedy banks are. Nothing more, nothing less. Yeah, basically what I just said, Chris. That's another form of revenue for banks. Credit card transactions, because as we know, every time you use your credit card or your Apple Pay or your Google Pay, somebody's getting a commission somewhere along the line. Businesses have to pay a commission, and obviously there is an interbank fee as well between those things. So banks in the middle there, pushing people to use cards and saying that it's an easy way to pay. It is. I prefer, to be honest, I prefer paying a lot of things with a card. But the fact of the matter is that I still think people should have the choice with their money if they want to use cash or not. That's my point here with this. All right, good. Back into the chat section here. What else we got going on? Let's see if I can find something here. Plenty of activity happening there. I'll just see if I can find something to bring out. Let's see if I can find something here. We're talking about dogs, okay. Brexit again, yes, with the pets. I imagine that's what the argument is related to. And Welsh Toro says, Spanish debt GDP was over 100% before COVID. It's serious. I think it's up to 120 or something at the moment, Welsh Toro. So it is a serious problem. And my question is, how are they going to pay it back? Not only Spain, but every government that has a big debt to GDP ratio at the moment. And let's be honest, there are plenty of countries that have a big debt to GDP ratio. And how are they going to pay it back? They can't increase taxes because that's political suicide. So what are they going to do? That's the question. I don't know. But it's not my job to figure it out. You'll probably have to end up wiping the debt off or something like that. The creditors are not going to be happy, but I can't see another solution. But anyway, let's go. Hi Stu, interesting video. Could you do something similar for lovers of the beautiful green landscape in the north? This was a video that I did the other day on the most popular spots for foreign buyers. I think there were 3 places in Alicante. Can't remember the names of the places. One was Busot, I think. Another one was Palob. And a couple of places in Andalusia. Can't remember the names of those places, as I said, but they were the most searched places where foreigners are looking to live here in Spain. 3 in Alicante, 2 in Malaga. The north of Spain did feature, but obviously the demand is not as high because people coming from the north of Europe are looking for good weather, basically, to be close to the coast, but not on the coast. And the places that we saw the other day are all in those locations. So not far from Marbella was one was not far from Benidorm, the other one was not far from, I'm not sure whether it was Alicante City or where it was, but places that are not on the coast. They're not massified, they're not big tourist resorts, and people can have a relaxed lifestyle, good weather, not far from the coast, cheaper prices obviously, and those were the ones. The north of Spain, very green. I prefer it, to be honest, to the places like Alicante, but people are obviously looking to come down in Spain primarily for the weather change, to get out of those colder northern European climates, and they don't want to end up in a place like Asturias or Galicia where it rains quite a lot, and that's why they choose places like Alicante or Malaga. But anyway, now we've got Yvonne coming in from San Fulgencio, Alicante. Yogi says Spain debt ratio is 95% of GDP. I think it might have been before COVID, Yogi, but I think it's up over that now. Because, as we know, Spain has had to borrow heavily over the last few years to keep the economy going. European Union, of course, putting a lot of money into the economy, and some of it will have to be paid back. So, not sure, Yogi, but I think it's around 120. At least that's what I've seen recently, I think. But you could be right. So I'm not going to say that you're wrong. You could be right, but I think it's over 100%. Okay, let's have a look at this. Mark says, hey Stu, what are the restrictions for the Canary Islands? Please, can the unboosted with 2 vacs, are they allowed in or not? Please. Not sure what the rules are, Mark, to be honest. I'm not an expert on the rules for boosters and these things. I think the rule the last time I looked was 270 days. You have to have had your last COVID shot within 270 days. I think that still applies. And as I said, they've just extended that unvaccinated rule for another month until the 15th of June. So keep that in mind. If anybody knows Mark's exact an answer to Mark's question, please let him know. All right, let's have a look at one more. Miss NDN. Our friends moved to one of those white villages north of Malaga. It's very pretty to visit, but in summer it's unbearably hot. Far too hot for me, and in winter it can get pretty cold. It's on the top of a hill, so everywhere you walk is up and down hills. Beautiful to visit in spring or autumn, but I couldn't live there. Yeah, I think one of the places that we saw was one of those hilltop villages down there in Malaga. I can't remember what the name of the place was. It wasn't it was Coin, something like that. But it was one of those places that sits on top of a hill. And you're right, you have to go up and down the hill constantly to get from A to B. And that's pretty common in a lot of villages here in Spain. They are on top of a hill. You've got a lot of shops down at the bottom of the hill and people living at the top. And people are up and down all day, which can be a little bit uncomfortable if you don't like to walk. So a lot of people prefer to live on the coast where it's flat rather than in one of these villages. And when it comes to the temperature, again, that can be an issue for some people. Hot summers, cold winters, especially up there in those mountains in Malaga. So that's an issue for a lot of people. And as you said there, MSDN, beautiful to visit in spring or autumn, but maybe not everybody's cup of tea when it comes to living in one of these places. So, yeah, you're right, not everybody's cup of tea. But in the top 10 when it comes to villages searched for and places to live, a little bit off the beaten track. All right, Carrie says, delivery from Carrie 4. Okay, so delivery from Carrie 4. They won't deliver more than 6. Well, that's weight. It's a weight issue, Carrie, I think. I know that if I buy products at the supermarket, there is a weight limit for some things. And I suppose that they limit it to six packs, was it, I think, or 6 packs of 12 because of the weight issue. You don't want to be doing one delivery with that's too heavy, and therefore, putting the guy's back out when he's trying to carry it upstairs. Probably, Carrie, that's the reason why there is a limit on that. All right, we've got Mick coming in from Moreira. What else we got going on? Richard says, who else thinks Eurovision was fixed last night? I don't know whether it was fixed or not, Alan, but a lot of people said that... Sorry, Richard. A lot of people said that the Ukraine was going to win, and they did win. Spain was in there for a chance for a while. I think Spain finished in 3rd position, and a lot of people here in Spain were on the edge of their seats there for a while when it was between the UK and Spain there, and then all of a sudden Ukraine came up and took the chocolates, as they say. So... fantastic for Ukraine to win, and the Ukrainian president, I think, has said that next year they're going to hold Eurovision in one of the cities there in Ukraine. So good luck with that. All right, what else we got going on here? Let's see, what time was it? 26 minutes, 4 minutes to go. So Pat saying, I had more problems with seagull poop cleanup on my windows and car than from Kalima. Yes, Sue, if you live in a coastal area, seagulls can be a problem. That's exactly right. And especially when you get some of those big seagulls that you get up there in the Atlantic, in Galicia. Big seagulls, big poops, difficult to clean. That's exactly right. Good point. All right, what else have we got going on here? Alan from Beleth, Malaga. Let's have a look at this. What does he say here? I've been in Lidl when the weekend offers are on, and you can have unlimited amounts of anything, including beer. Yeah, I think we sorted it out, Alan. It's delivery. I think Carrie said there, deliveries. So you can go to the supermarket and buy as much as you want. Nobody's going to stop you from buying 100 cases of beer if you want. But obviously, when it comes to getting it delivered, there are some limits because of the transport implications. I believe that's the reason. So thanks for your input there, Alan. All right, now I've got one more comment. Let's have a look. Here we go. See you next, Expat. Interesting, but not one of these towns is on my short list. There are Coin and Jerez on top, Alhaurín el Grande and Alhaurín el Torre, and on the bottom, Beleth Malaga. We will visit all of them soon to find the place where we want to live. That is not too... that it will not become too boring after a while. The place must have at least 15,000 inhabitants. There we go. So all of those places that I looked at the other day, not on CNX Expat's list. He's looking more at Jerez in Cádiz, Coin, and the 2 other places there in Malaga as well. So good luck with that, and I hope all goes well and you find a place to settle down and live there in one of those places. Fantastic. All right, good. Now, let's have a look at a little bit of chat action. Let's see what's going on here quickly before we finish. See if I can get a comment or a chat out of here. One here from Noel. He says, hey, Stu, are you familiar with the tax system? Would Spain tax retirement income from the US? I think the answer, I'm not a tax expert. That's the first thing I'll say. But I do believe that if you have tax retirement income over a certain amount of money, you would have to pay tax on it. I believe that is the case. If you live anywhere for more than 183 days, I think you have to pay taxes in that country, Noel. So if you've got income coming in from the USA, you probably would have to pay tax on it, I would say. I think the USA is a double tax system, so you have to pay tax in the States and tax in the USA. But again, I'm not a tax expert, so if anybody knows more than me, please let Noel know in the chat section. All right, good. Now I'm going to wrap the video up. My voice is starting to fade here. So thank you very much for your input today in the chat section. Should be back tomorrow with a regular video. Another live stream on Tuesday, providing that I can speak. So I'll see you all then. I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of the day. Sorry I couldn't go through more of the chat section, but I'm struggling a little bit still. But hopefully I'll get better tomorrow, and by Tuesday I should be back to normal. Let's hope.